Now, you also had, when you were 19, this thing called a near-death-like
Mhm.
experience. Can you please tell that story, which is a pretty fascinating one?
Yeah, I would love to. So I was about 18 or 19. And as I said earlier, I was really seeking this divine connection, this blissful feeling that I remembered from my pre birth memory within my Christian faith. And so I was praying every night before I went to bed to be given a supernatural experience so that I could feel what I had been taught to call God's presence. Can I feel your presence? Because I know if I could feel that bliss again, all of my earthly pain would leave in an instant. And so for years I prayed this and nothing happened. And I don't know why it happened when I did, but I feel like maybe they were joking up there, like we're gonna have to do something because she is so obsessed with this and she's not staying on track with what she's supposed to do with her life. So I was laying in bed one night praying the same prayer that I always prayed, and all of a sudden I was in another reality. And there's two phases to my experience that I remember. The first phase, I perceived myself to be laying in my bed, but it was like this other dimension opened up, and I felt like I was swimming in this ocean of love. And the love was washing over me from my feet to my head in waves. And it was washing over me and through me, and it was wiping away all of the pain of my earthly life and it completely forgotten in an instant. And so it was like I was in this force field of love that was also a presence. And I instantly recognized it as the light that I remember from my pre birth memories and what I had been taught to call God. And so I said, I have been looking for you my entire life, and you are finally here. Where have you been my entire life? And I didn't really get an answer to that question, but I could have just stayed there forever. I was blissed out. And this is where words really fail me because I can just try to describe what this felt like, but honestly, we don't even have the feelings here in this world, let alone words to try to describe them. But it was like safety and security and love and bliss and comfort multiplied by a million. And it was this knowing that everything has always been well and everything always will be well. And I instantly knew that a lot of the things I had been taught in the church were completely wrong, that the idea that anybody could be eternally lost was just laughable.
Mhm.
And I also experienced the masculine and feminine sides of God. I felt like I was being held in my father's arms and nurtured in my mother's womb at the same time. And it was like all the loves that you could experience in this lifetime all combined together and multiplied by a million. So I could have just stayed there forever. I had no interest in going back to my life. And I'm not sure how long that specific portion of the experience went on, but at some point my consciousness began to expand out of my body, and I found myself somewhere up above the earth, and the presence was still with me. And I didn't have words for this until much later when I discovered near death experiencers and they talk about ultimate knowledge. And
Mm.
that's what happened. I instantly knew that I could ask any question that I wanted to ask and I would be given the answer. So I started thinking of questions in my mind. And as soon as I thought of a question, I would be given not only the answer to that question, but how that answer fit together with everything else in the universe. And so I began to expand, and there's several ways I can describe this. One way that I like to describe it is that it was like I was receiving massive downloads of information, and with this information, my consciousness was expanding as it was taking it in. It was like I was a computer just receiving all of this information so quickly. And within a split second, I had expanded to as far as it was as far as I could expand within that experience. And I felt like I knew everything there was to know. I understood all the secrets of the universe, and everything was happening inside of me. And when I got to the very top, I saw the secret to life. Like, this is the reason why we're here. And it was so far beyond our ability to understand here, but it was also so simple that I laughed at, and I said, how did I not know this when I was on Earth? And as soon as I saw that answer to life, I knew I was going to come back into my head. So I'll pause it there, and then I'll explain a couple other things, because time was different there. And it was like all of these things were happening at the same time. So another way that I can describe what it felt like to expand is that I was expanding through dimensional awareness. So it would be comparable to expanding from like a 2-dimensional plane up into a 3-dimensional plane, and think about how much more space is available, how much more information can be contained in that space. That's what it was like, except I was expanding up through higher dimensions. And every time I would expand up into a new dimension, it was like this release of freedom, like freedom and so much more awareness, like so much more information that I could understand, until it got to the point, and I don't know how high I went, but I remember this happening several times where I just go up and up and up and up, and you get up to that top level, and it's like everything is working out for perfection. You can see how every little tiny detail works together for perfection. And when I was at the top, again, I looked down and I saw what I was told was the cosmic master plan of God. So that sounds really cheesy, but I was like a Christian teenager, so that's the words I was given. And I saw this beautiful, magnificent, living Mandela pattern that was moving and shifting and multidimensional. And it contained all the life paths of every created being. And I could see how we all have free will within this plan, but everything leads back towards love in the end, because even a choice against love or against God is ultimately a choice for love, because that experience of contrast will teach us something that will bring us back towards love.
To watch the full video, click on the link below, and don't forget to subscribe.